Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Cara Delane and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings and Cara Delane.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and happy Valentine's Day, Ted, and all of our ladies. Do you feel a little outnumbered tonight, Ted?
I feel very much outnumbered, Cara Delane. Happy Valentine's Day to you, everybody who's here tonight, all of our featured guests, and everybody watching. We are really humbled that we've got an amazing crew tonight. And Katie Mayers is with us, Cara. Her new book is coming out tomorrow morning, Customer Experience. We're going to hear all about that. Of course, we have the amazing Michelle McLean with us tonight. And we are really fortunate that we've got Ann Fleming from Women Drivers with us tonight. Sherry Stevens is with us. Long time I've wanted to get both Ann and Sherry on the show, so looking forward to that. And of course, Cindy Reynolds is with us. So Cara, amazing show, and we're live tonight, right?
We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So hopefully everyone's sharing the video, and I know everyone's going to have some questions for Katie down in the comments below.
Great. And I know we're going to learn a whole lot about her book. And let me real quick give a shout out to that company that's right over Michelle McLean's shoulder, our exclusive sponsor for tonight's show. It's BG Products, Partners Beyond Products. We are very grateful to all they do for the fixed ops and automotive retail industries. So thank you so much, BG, and happy Valentine's Day. Of course, Cara, to the folks over at BG who are good friends of yours as well.
Of course. Happy Valentine's Day to BG. Thank you for everything that you do for the Roundtable and our After Dark show and the automotive industry as a whole. But I'm looking forward to tonight, Ted, with a full ladies panel.
Yep. So Kyle, it's just me and hopefully you tonight, okay, with some backup. So Kyle Cloud with us from Orlando. Katie, your book is coming out finally tomorrow. Congratulations. I've seen you everywhere on social media in the last 24 hours.
And you'll see so much more in the next 48, I'm sure. But thank you so much for having me on. I am so excited that this is finally going to be here. It's a dream come true, and there's no better way to celebrate it than with you, Ted, and everybody. Thank you, Ann, and the Fixed Ops Roundtable, because I mean, if not everyone knows my history in the automotive space, but Ted is the first one that really reached out his hand and said, "Hey, come along, you've got something, and I wanna sing your praises." And so I wouldn't and couldn't imagine doing this in any other way. So I'm super grateful, Ted. Thank you so much for all the love you've given me over the years and the support.
I think it's been 5 years since I first met you when we had lunch in Niagara Falls. And I remember because my daughter was having her prom that evening. And I remember I sent you all the pictures from the prom and you saw that. And that was a real special. It had to be 5 years ago. Yeah.
It was about 5 years. And I drove over the border. And when I came back across the border, they looked at me so weird as if I was smuggling something. I'm like, no, really, I just went to have lunch with somebody. So, but it was amazing.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So, congratulations to you. Now you've been working really hard for a long time on this. A lot of friends with us tonight. I see Tony Owens, I see Cora Lee, I see Robert Miggs. Everybody, the book is on Amazon. This is the cover Custom Her Experience by Katie Mayers, and just importance of tailoring your brand experience to the female consumer. Katie's going to share a lot with us tonight about what's in the book. And again, it is on Amazon, so you can go ahead. We put that in the comments a little while ago. The link is in there, and we'll put it up as well here in the comments. So, Cindy, you and I have been talking about this topic for a long time, going about the same amount of time that I've known Katie. I've known you, Cindy.
Yes, that's correct. And I remember Katie from then. So it's amazing. And you know, I've been working closely with someone, you know, Roger Connett, which you know, Ted, and we've been working on 30 Before 30, which is you know, going to be an organization that's really focused, like the UK is, on getting 30% of the staff in dealerships to be females. So because studies show us that, you know, if you reach that level, then you have a better opportunity of moving women into leadership positions. And so that's a really exciting initiative that Roger and I have been working very closely on. I think he's been talking to Ann some as well. So hopefully we'll start seeing more people involved.
And I'm sure you know Roger Connett, and this is also very dear to your heart as well.
It is. And Cindy, just to touch on what you mentioned, we did a study from our reviews and surveys, and 33% of women who deal with a frontline female advisor say it is a vastly increased experience from her last time buying. And if I could just mention Eric Barbosa at Henson Dealers, I think you might have had him on, Ted. Over the weekend, he hired 9 people, and 7 of those people are for frontline, are for his frontline are women. So incredible. Eric has a strategy, he has an intention, and he is fulfilling on it. Increased reviews, and it's increasing his CSI.
Yeah, Eric is a great ambassador in our industry, and we're very grateful to him for all that Eric does and continues to do. So I saw that post as well, Ann. And again, you've been talking about this, Ann, and you've been actually measuring and surveying women buyers. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I'm not sure everybody knows the extent to which, you know, you've done all the research here.
We're a review and a survey company, and we capture over 500 data points by brand, by dealership, by rooftop on women's experience through the full continuum. So I had the opportunity to meet Katie and you. It was a good 4 or 5 years ago or so. That's when we had the opportunity to meet. And so what we really look at, and we help leaders look at, are unmet needs or gaps or opportunities. And I know Katie's going to be talking about this, but if I can just say quickly, you know, we've gone through digital retailing, we've got, you know, the user experience down, and now, Katie, your book is coming out at such a inflection point, because now the industry is really looking at CX. If we talk about women, they really they have a dual role. And that dual role is, number one, they are consumers by themselves and for themselves. They're buying 7.5 million new cars at new cars dealerships. And as influencers, they are buying an incremental 30% more. So now's really the time. The industry's looked at millennials and ESL, English as a second language. Now we're looking at EV, but now's the time to really begin to unpack her experience.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so much. And Sherry, I know you've spent so much of your career in retail automotive. You know, congratulations to you on all the success that you've had. I first met you when you were at X Time online, okay, in this, you know, on social media and so on.
It's how we meet almost everybody now.
You've got a great voice, Sherry, in this industry.
Yeah, I think it's come from, you know, I've been in the automotive industry for a couple decades now. I think I've told this story about 10 times today. You know, you don't start out going, how am I going to get in an automotive career? It just happens. You stumble on it, accidental usually. And I always tell people it was the most impactful and influential thing that could have happened for me. My income level increased exponentially beyond people I know with college degrees and things like that. And the opportunities are endless. So that's one thing that I love about that. And, I took some of that and became a performance manager with, a well-known software company. So being able to work with dealers all across North America by the hundreds really has really given me, the perspective I need to do what I'm doing now at Quantum. So.
Yeah, I love it. And Michelle, I recall you saying that you did not intentionally get into the retail auto business as well.
No, I share most of the sentiments that these ladies are sharing. I was only 18. I literally went in to buy a vehicle very similar to Katie, had an awful experience, walked away from the very awful deal. And I got hounded for 3 weeks, not just to buy a car, but when I finally said, no, I'm not buying a vehicle, they said, well, would you come and sell them? And, it's kind of funny. And, like Sherry, a couple decades now, I'm in my 23rd year in one facet or another in automotive. And in 2015, I launched my own branding and marketing agency as a result of trying to make a bigger impact for women and do things differently, hit those key touch points to increase things like CSI and KPI for dealers. And it's been such a rewarding experience. So super grateful to be on this stage with such amazing, amazing women here.
And Katie, want to get to the book in just a moment, but I got to make a point here that Cara Delane, who's with us tonight, also in retail. Cara started off initially headed into law school and made a very short detour into retail automotive. Cara, if you don't mind, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I was down in Houston, actually, taking my LSAT for law school, because as soon as I graduated from college, I was like, I'm going into law school. And I met one of my biggest mentors in life, Eric Barbosa, who we were just talking about. And I interviewed with him through a mutual connection 2 days after I took my LSAT. And I made good enough scores, and the automotive industry just sucked me in so hard.
That's what happens.
Apply for law school. So I let the deadline go by, and honestly, it was the biggest blessing in disguise that probably has ever happened to me.
Wow. So Katie, I know we have some questions coming up. We're going to ask the audience about your book, but Katie, give us the backstory. I know you and I have talked about it many times, but not everybody knows. How did the book come about, and how did we get to where we are today?
Yeah. So just like Michelle was saying, my opening story in this book is about several really awful car buying experiences. It took me, I think it was like 7 or 8 dealerships to finally find one. So it was months of sort of going back in and holding my breath and hoping the experience would be different. And in that time, I started to really see, not only from a customer experience perspective, because that's really where my wheelhouse is and still is and was, I really realized there was more to it than just the experience. It was the female perspective that was being lost. And so I started digging and digging and digging and found myself in a rabbit hole of data points and information. And part of that came from Anne, and I fell into Anne's hands there. And I started thinking, well, I think I could really make a difference in this industry. And so I started to create keynotes, and I applied at all the conferences, and I started speaking at all the conferences. And while I was doing that, I was writing articles, taking data points, taking my experience outside of the industry and infusing it into the industry. And then the book sort of formed itself with all of the information I was gathering and all of the research I was doing. The one thing about this book is it's not just about the warm and fuzzy and my experience and what I think a woman should, receive. It's all backed by science. I talk about the physiological differences between men and women. And it's not that woman is better than a man or man is better than the woman. It's that we're different. And we've come to a point where we need to understand our differences. And until we get to that point where it's 30% of females working in the dealership, the men need to understand women to have more success. And so the book is written really from a point of view of hey, if we could just work together and understand each other, then we'd have far more success.
Wow. So I remember as you were putting this together, we talked about the consumer persona. So a couple questions we're going to ask them of the panel and of the audience tonight. So we'd like you to chime in, everybody, if you would, in the comments. And Katie, if it's okay, I'll start off with the first one.
Yeah,
Can you
go
kind
for
of
it.
take us through it? We talked a little bit in the green room about some of these coming in. So the very first one, when creating a consumer persona, you should focus on her multiple choice: A, her age; B, her career; or C, her life stage. So again, when creating a consumer persona, you should focus on A, her age; B, career; or C, life stage. What do you think, everybody?
I think
I'd
it's
say all of the above.
I think
Could be. I'd say generally, if there was one right answer, C, probably.
Audience, and we're going to ask you the same question. What do you think? It's A, age; B, her career; or C, life stage. Katie, take us through some of this, because, in theory, it could be any of them, right?
In theory, yes. And of course, when you're creating consumer personas and you're not focusing on her necessarily, yeah, you could look at all of this and you'd want to break it down by their demographics and where they live and their economics and all the good stuff. But it is the life stage. And the reason the life stage is so important is because 40s are the new 30s, 30s are the new 20s. Women aren't getting married super early. They're not having babies right away. They're focusing on their career. So their age doesn't hold as much weight anymore. And even her career, the stage in her career doesn't hold as much weight. But where she is at in life is far more, will give you far much more direction as to what her kind of needs and her fears are that you need to overcome. Because you could have a 20-something that decided to get married early and have babies. And so she could be at a completely different life stage. But you could have a 40-something-year-old woman that has never had a baby, hasn't had a baby, isn't married, and is just focusing on her career. And those two women are in need, very different needs at very different stages of her life. So it's important to not look at a 20, 30, 40-year-old woman that walks in and assume. You can't assume that's, she's at that age and that's where she is at in life. So really understanding what stage of life she's in is going to help you dictate how to create an experience for her.
Yeah, I love it. Sean Butler and Tony Owens commenting in. Katie, I remember when you first told me about these life stages. I don't recall the exact conversation, but again, and this is going back in that 4 or 5 years from, in the past. I remember, Katie, we referred to something of people in my age, and I think you said, "Oh yeah," I think there was a term for it, and you mentioned grandparents. And remember, I said to you, "Katie, I can't believe that." I was like taken back by that. Like, not everybody's going to be, and then I think you made a couple adjustments based on some of the things.
I remember that. Yeah, you were a little, maybe slightly offended by me at that point.
That's only 25. Come on now.
But there's the platinum years is what I've changed it to. And the platinum years is something that is it's a beautiful thing. You've had children or you have grandchildren, but you're focusing on you. And that woman is going to start feeling less guilty about taking that time for herself and having those leisurely lunches or driving her dream car, because now it's about her. And so those stages are super important to understand, because that's really what's going to dictate what she needs and wants.
All right, Katie, you've got a second question. Let's go ahead and let's bring that up here. And
all right.
I'll let you walk through it.
Okay, cool. So when women shop with you, they want a utilitarian experience, B, a hedonic experience, or C, she has no clue what she wants and neither do you. Any guesses?
I know what the man would say, but go ahead. I won't say. A, utilitarian experience. B,
I'm going to say utilitarian.
All right. Anyone else?
I think oftentimes when it comes to marketing to the female consumer, or if someone is walking into, we're talking about automotive, into your retail location, very similar to the last question, as you said, it's important we understand her life stage. I think oftentimes a woman doesn't necessarily know what she wants. Not to say that C is the correct answer, but it's up to you as a salesperson, manager, what have you, to ask the right questions and help that female figure out exactly what she wants. Because how often do we as women, whether we're shopping for a handbag or shoes or even a new car, we come in with the expectation of, I want this because I think this is going to meet my needs, only to end up leaving in something entirely different. So like I said, I don't think that this woman doesn't know what she wants. I think she has a general idea, but you as the person selling to her need to ask the right questions to help her figure out exactly what the right choice is.
I'll jump in if I
Yes.
may, Katie. So from an experience standpoint, and there's lots of words to use, but I try to cull it down to women are looking for a trusting, respectful, she wants to be heard, and she wants to be comfortable, confident. I'll leave out the side, but I'll say it's kind of like in that quadrant. So we know that those are some of the emotions that she wants to have while she's at the dealership. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a lot of women don't know what a good experience is at a dealership. So, I have to kind of agree with Michelle. Do we know what we want? Because have we ever received great customer service?
All right. Well, I'm going to let you all in on a little secret of what she does want. So yes, most of the time, and men will probably attest to this because that's what you're getting at, Ted. We don't know what we want. No, we really do. But here it is. They actually want a hedonic experience. And what that is an experience of the senses. So while she doesn't have really, I think she has probably a poor expectation of what she's going to expect when she walks into a dealership, her expectations are actually not carved out based on her car shopping experience she had 3 years ago. Her experience that she expects is from Starbucks, from Nordstrom, from Chick-fil-A, from all the Amazon, from all the other areas in her life that she frequents every day. So those expectations are actually set way before she walks into your dealership. Problem is, the dealership doesn't look outside, and there are progressive ones, don't get me wrong, but the dealership doesn't look outside the delership or the dealership down the street. So they're looking in all the wrong places to create an experience for her or really any customer in general. Now, a hedonic experience, it's an experience that when she walks in, she feels it. So it could be the lighting, it could be the music, it could be the smell, it could be how warm or cold it is. Is in the middle of the winter, if she's waiting in the service lane for her car to be done or car to be fixed or pick up, is it cold? Is it grungy? Is the coffee fresh? Is the coffee pot clean? Are the bathrooms clean? Are there flowers in the bathroom? That's really important to her. And that's before even you say hello. So a hedonic experience is it's an experience of the senses. A utilitarian experience is very much what a man wants. In and out, as easy, non-frictionless as possible. They don't care if the coffee is old or if it's too cold, they're just going to ignore it and move on. So when it comes to a woman and creating an experience and atmosphere, a hedonic experience is the way to go.
Okay. All right. So B, third question and last question for tonight.
All right. Women want to fall in love with your brand. A, yes, it's physiology. Or B, no, there's no connection between love and brand loyalty.
Michelle, what do you think?
Yeah, see, as a brand strategist, I every day try to help people to put out into the world about falling in love with the brand. Yeah. And I think that, in some ways it's important. I don't know that it's necessarily that we fall in love on an emotional level, but we fall in love with the tenets of that brand, what they stand for. We fall in love with, their values and their missions. And of course, at the end of the day, we fall in love with their products. Do they fit my needs? Take a pair of Louboutins, for example. It's a staple in the women's community. Whether or not you wear Louboutins, if I say to you, red bottoms, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I think that it's a combination of those things.
Anybody else?
I think we can go back to what we just talked about with the senses, and you bring it into this, and it's parallel that we do want to love the brand, and it needs to fill the senses in order for us to do that. So I think there's a connection here to the previous question.
Absolutely, I agree wholeheartedly.
Awesome. Well, it is. And so here it is it actually our body, women's bodies, we physiologically have the same reaction, same chemical release when we're shopping with a brand that we do when we're falling in love. So our body releases serotonin and oxytocin and dopamine, and it's all the same good little vibes and feelings that we're feeling when we're shopping with a brand, or when you buy those red bottoms, for example. The red bottoms, sure, that's the result, but it's when you walk into the store and they treat you like a queen, and they give you a glass of champagne, and they'll run around for you. That experience is what helps a woman become loyal, and it's the way you make her feel. And that's because our limbic brain is double the size of a man. So we feel more greatly and deeply than a man does. So falling in love with the brand, if you can get her to do that, you've got guaranteed loyalty.
Wow. Sherry, I know you've been involved, with a lot of studies that you've been seen over the years and shared. This has been a conversation, Sherry, for a long time, but I think it is so relevant right now in what we do in retail automotive, Sherry.
I definitely agree, and I'll share something that I think this sort of equates to with where I'm at now with quantum. One thing that we teach, which I'm thrilled to get your book. I can't wait till it comes out, because I feel like this is really going to be synergy with what I'm teaching to my dealers. But just basically how to recognize and flex to what we teach is sort of a personality or social style, even more so when it comes to a woman. Because they are so different, and I love this concept of what you're teaching, and I think it's so on time. So really good stuff. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And what are you seeing in the market? Because we've been talking about this for a while. Katie's been speaking on it. Now the book is out finally tomorrow. You can everybody get it on Amazon. There's the link right there. We have it in there. And what are your thoughts?
It's now. This is a now conversation. I mean, someone earlier alluded to the fact that this has been a conversation for decades, but what you're doing, over at Quantum, you're training. Like, it's the training. There are a lot of training companies out there. Yeah. We know. I just talked about the quadrants of emotion. What she's looking for, a relational experience, not
totally.
a transactional one.
Yeah,
and that does happen. It happens. I mean, I just leased a car. It was remarkable. And then I went to the service, and it's like there's like a baton.
Yeah.
That gets handed off. So buying a car is one, and then pulling that the values and the training over to be at the same level of expectation and delivery, no pun intended, over the service structure. I think that's really important, because it's not really about marketing. We're not here talking about marketing to women. So it's not what
that's very superficial on this topic, for sure.
It is. It's about connecting and communicating. That's really what we're talking about. So I think, Katie, and everybody on the panel, what you're doing, to really make a difference, it's now. And dealers, we didn't know that we wanted an iPad until we had an iPad.
Don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
That's how I am about communicating and connecting to her.
And Katie, the message when a dealership does not have a female staff or many females on the staff, there's a message there also for the customer. It's unspoken, but they can feel it when they come into the service drive.
Well,
right?
You're so true.
I say, if they don't want to work for you or with you, then why the heck would they want to shop with you?
Yeah.
Women want to shop where they see themselves where they see that comfortability. And so if you can't attract, hire, and retain your female employees, good luck attracting, selling, and retaining female customers, because you can't do it even with your internal customer. And I have a lot about that in the book as well. I break it down on, there's 12 obstacles that female employees have that men don't. And it's blown up out of proportion in such a male-dominated space like the automotive industry. But there are some simple things that the dealers can do in order to make a little shift. And so it's all in there. And I couldn't agree more. You have to create an environment. I call it a fee plus male. So a female environment where women and men are coming together, because when we come together, that's what God put us on this earth to do, right? Adam and Eve. And so when we come together, our strengths are unparalleled, but we have to be willing to work together and understand each other.
Well, Katie, and very well said. In closing, Katie, what's next for our industry? On this subject, you've been everybody on the panel tonight has been very passionate about it for a long time. Katie, what do you see ahead, in terms of where we're headed?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. One, if you don't have a foundation of an experience, read my book if you want, but I would suggest you get a foundation and experience going along so that you can at least have that and then elevate it and get to the next level. If you don't have a foundation, I'd want you to read my book to understand women, to create a culture she wants to be in. So that's what I think is really next for this industry. I'm hearing culture all the time. I'm hearing employees. It could be that we are in the most dire need of employees, and we're at a shortage of people. So now is the time to hire those women. Now is the time to make those changes, because you can't afford not to. You just can't. The world has shifted and we've evolved. And so put your hand out, sponsor a woman, get her in there feeling comfortable, create an environment she can't live without so that she tells her friends and her friends tell her friends. And then all of a sudden you've got this domino effect and a beautiful culture that you've created. So that's what I think is where we're really at, is focusing on the culture. And how do you create a fee plus male, a female culture that we can all thrive in?
Cindy, there's that word again, Cindy, culture.
Yes, it just keeps popping up. I think it's just so important. And I think Ann talked about it earlier, is, you just got to realize this is for everyone. And it's coming together. It is creating a culture that you can thrive in. That that people want you thriving in it. It's about trust. It's about communication. And I think what Ann said earlier, I totally agree with her. And I've been saying it and voicing it a lot. We hear dealers push back on this and say, well, we don't want this. And it's like, well, you don't even know what you don't want. Like you're just pushing back. And the truth is that's part of why I want to be such a part of this, because we can subtly begin making those shifts. And once people begin seeing the significance that the impact of it has on their customers, on their bottom line, on the stress level being less, they will want it. I've done it. I did it in a dealership. And so anyone that has worked in a dealership that was less stressful, that had a great culture, that customers loved, employees loved, it's a beautiful thing. So I think it's what we're all looking for. It's what we're all asking for. And I think it's going to take women like what is on this panel for people to begin to see what we're actually talking about and sharing about, and the results that you get from it.
Great job. Katie, it's almost like we have to bring this panel back with you at the next Fixed Ops Roundtable and do this.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Event. What do you
we
think?
talk all about culture and how we can make that shift. Let's do it. That. Phenomenal.
Absolutely.
All right, if you're all on, let's do that. Let's do that for the next event, which is only it's only like 12 weeks away or so, but it's going to be here, like Kara says, in a blink of an eye. So, Katie, I like that. Let's bring everybody back. So
let's do it.
Everybody, thank you tonight for being with us. Cindy Reynolds,
Thank you.
Sherry Stevens, Ann Fleming, thank you so much, to be with us. Finally, great to meet you, and Sherry as well. Michelle McLean, I talk to you every day, but here we are, right? Talking about this stuff. So,
excellent.
And of course, Katie Mears. So, Katie, congratulations. And everybody, you can get the book right now on Amazon. This is what it looks like, Custom Her Experience by Katie Mears. Here's the link. It's in the chat as well. You can just get it at Amazon. I know I ordered it. I pre-ordered it. Anne's already got hers as well. So make sure you get the book, read the book. If you are representing a dealership and you want to go ahead and get that book for all of your staff, all of your service advisors, all of your salespeople. So right on Amazon, and a great buy and a great read, and from a great friend, Katie Mears. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your
Thank
support,
you.
because that's so important too. Let's not forget that we have to fix each other's crowns and not pull them over our eyes so we can't see our own way, right? So let's fix each other's crowns, and I'm super grateful that you're all on here tonight from the bottom of my heart. So thank you so much.
It's an important mission, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Ted and Kara.
Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you all of the ladies for being on tonight with us. Happy Valentine's Day. And if you're like me, I'm ordering Katie's book right after this, so make sure you hit that link up. Thank you, Katie, for bringing this to everyone's awareness. Guys, find her book, and we will see you on Wednesday at 8 p.m.